Alright, everybody, here we are. Our last look back at the year of the Sixes, 2016. So, we're going to take a look at 10 albums turning 10 years old this year. These are my 10 favorite albums from 2016.
Everybody's got a right to change. I didn't say that I would. Sometimes you have to do your own thing.
In the number 10 spot, I've got Us in the Night from Three Doors Down. And while I might not be the biggest Three Doors Down fan, I do think this one has some really good tunes on it, especially on the front half of the album. Songs like The Broken, Still Alive, Believe It, and Living in Your Hell all would be amongst my favorite Three Doors Down tracks. I do think this album kind of balances that classic Three Doors Down sound, also with sounding a little bit more modern, a little bit more 2010s-ish, if that makes sense. It just kind of has a little bit of a updated Three Doors Down. So like they didn't go too far away from what you expect from Three Doors Down, but it still manages to sound a little fresh to me. So in the number 10 spot, I'm gonna go with Us in the Night from Three Doors Down. In the number 9 spot, I'm going with Hardwired to Self-Destruct from Metallica. This is a real half and half album for me, I gotta be honest. Half of the material on here I think is the best that they've done since the 90s. The other half, to me, is kind of forgettable. And it's almost perfectly divided on the two discs. The first disc has Hardwired, Atlas Rise, Moth into Flame, Dream No More, and Halo on Fire. Honestly, if you could just swap out Now That We're Dead for Spit Out the Bone, you could pretty much perfectly have this album divided right down the halves for me. And the second disc would be just kind of the ones that are kind of forgettable to me. But yeah, I got to put this one kind of on the lower end of my list because to me this is half of it I love, half of it is just kind of eh. So number 9, Hardwired to Self-Destruct. But the half that I love, I gotta say, like, you know, some of the best material I think Metallica's done since Load and Reload, and that's coming from a fan of Load and Reload. So number 9, Hardwired to Self-Destruct. Alright, in the number 8 spot, I've got Seal the Deal and Let's Boogie from Volbeat. This is an album that has a ton of pretty catchy tunes, in my opinion. Volbeat's one of those bands that I don't love them. I like them, but I like them kind of in small doses. But this is one of the albums that does have a majority of the Volbeat songs that I do kind of like. Songs like The Bliss, Let It Burn, Mary Jane Kelly, Goodbye Forever. The title track, and I do like the cover of Battleship Chains on this album as well. So, yeah, Seal the Deal and Let's Boogie from Volbeat. I think it's got some catchy tunes on it, and it's going to be my number 8 from 2016. In the number 7 spot, I'm going to go with For All Kings by Anthrax. Now, Anthrax is a band that I never really got that into, to be honest with you. I've tried. I own one of their older albums. Doesn't really do much for me, but I found I was compiling a list of albums that came out this year that I wanted to check out before I kind of did my list here, and this is one of the albums that was on that list, and I gotta say, I actually quite like this one. Highlight songs for me: You Gotta Believe, Monster at the End, Breathing Lightning, which was really good, Defend, Avenge, This Battle Chose Us, and the album closer, Zero Tolerance. So I did like this one. I thought this was a really good album, and that's coming from someone who is actually not that familiar or not that into Anthrax. So number 7, For All the Kings by Anthrax. in the number 6 spot, I'm going to go with Boxes from the Goo Goo Dolls. This is another album to me that's a little bit hit and miss. I think that's kind of a little bit of a theme so far because Hardwired had the same pattern. This is right smack dab in the middle of the Goo Goo Dolls' kind of low point of their career, at least for me. Like the 2010s, the real pop era where they kind of shred any rock in their sound that they had left. And the songwriting on Magnetic to me just didn't feel as deep as the Goo Goo Dolls songwriting usually is. I do think the songwriting on here is actually pretty good. It's the sound I don't really like. I don't like the production. I don't like the album sonically. But I do like a lot of the songwriting. I do like a lot of the songs kind of at their base. Over and Over. Souls in the Machine, I think, is the best song the Goo Goo Dolls did in the decade of the 2010s. The Pin, the title track. I do like Lucky One, Prayer in My Pocket. A couple songs on here I don't like at all. Flood and So Alive, two of my least favorite songs from the Goo Goo Dolls. But I do think the high points kind of outweigh the low points. And despite the fact that I'm not a fan of this album sonically, musically, and from a songwriting standpoint, there's a lot that does remind me of the Goo Goo Dolls that I know and love on this album. So, in the number 6 spot for me is Boxes from the Goo Goo Dolls. In the number 5 spot, we're going to go with The Last Hero from Alter Bridge. Now, I had to go back to this album because it's been a long time since I explored much on here. But this is about when I sort of stopped listening to a lot of Alter Bridge. Honestly, their new album has really pulled me back into the fold with them. I liked a lot of material off of their first couple of albums. And then around this one was kind of the one where I just sort of faded out from them for a while. But I went back to it, and I liked it a lot better than I remember liking it. Show Me a Leader, The Writing on the Wall, Other Side, My Champion. I think it really kicks off great. Poison in My Veins is great. You Will Be Remembered. Island of Fools is a really good one. The album's a bit lengthy, but otherwise I think it's really good. So I can't. I'm not sure why this one didn't stick with me before, like Fortress did, but I did like this one quite a bit. So number 5, I'm gonna go with Last Hero from Alter Bridge.
She gave me a nickel. She said it was a dime, but it don't bother me. No, it don't bother me.
In the number 4 spot, I've got Change of Fortune by Soul Asylum. This is probably one of my more favorite Soul Asylum albums, actually. I like Supersonic. The album opener is really cool. Can't Help It. Doomsday is a really fun Soul Asylum song. I happened to discover that song and this album in 2020, right before the pandemic. So maybe a little foreshadowing there, but who knows. Moonshine's really good. When I See You, and one of my favorite songs the band's ever done, Don't Bother Me. Really great song deep on the album. So in the number 4 spot, I've got Change of Fortune by Soul Asylum.
Sign of life, made it clear it wasn't there. Courtroom never checked because it didn't fucking care. Passing off the body, they all believe he died. Starting up the hearse, set out for a final drive. Like Whistling West Graveyard, when walking by at night.
In the number 3 spot, I'm going to go with Dystopia from Megadeth. To me, probably the shining light of the last decade of the band's career, decade and a half of the band's career. I think this album is phenomenal. It's got my favorite Megadeth song on it, Fatal Illusion. It's also got songs like The Threat Is Real, Dystopia, Death from Within, Post-American World, Lying in State, The Emperor, Foreign Policy. Just a great album from start to finish. Sounds fantastic. Megadeth's Dystopia is my number 3. number 2 spot, I've got an album that I bought on a whim, Tremonti's Dust. Decided to try and get a little bit more into Tremonti's solo band, so I saw this one, I picked it up, and I love it. It's fantastic. I love pretty much every song on here. My Last Mistake is phenomenal. The Cage, Once Dead. Dust is great. One of my favorite songs that Tremonti has ever done in any band that he's in. Betray Me, Catching Fire, Never Wrong, Unable to See, the album closer, is really good as well. Becoming a bit of a Tremonti fan, and it's really starting with this album here, this pickup that I made pretty much on a whim at the record store. So Tremonti's Dust is going to be my number 2 for 2016.
This house is not for sale. I set each stone and I hammered each nail. This house is not for sale. When memories live and my dreams don't fail. This house is not for sale. Coming up.
In the number 1 spot, I gotta go with This House Is Not For Sale from Bon Jovi. This is the first full-length album released without Richie Sambora in the band. Of course, not counting Burning Bridges, which was composed of songs that the band kind of had in their back pocket from when Richie was still in the band. So the first full album without any touch from Richie Sambora, This House Is Not For Sale. And I think this is a fantastic album. One of Bon Jovi's better later day albums. To me, this and Forever are probably my 2 favorite post The Circle albums. I think this album, I think it sounds all right. It's better produced than What About Now and the 2 albums that have come out since then. And I think that this album, much like the Three Doors Down album, I think this strikes a perfect balance between like a classic sounding Bon Jovi album and a more modern sound. I think they kind of come into the 2010s and kind of adopt some of the sounds of the time into their sound without straying too far. Songs like Born Again Tomorrow and Roller Coaster, to me, are prime examples of that. 2 songs I think should have been singles. I love the title track. It's become one of my favorite songs from the band. Living with the Ghost is great as well. I really love Reunion, deep on the album. That's a great one as well. New Year's Day, Devils in the Temple, God Bless This Mess are all decent as well. I think my drawback on this one, Knockout, Labor of Love, and Scars on This Guitar, to me are just okay, but the rest of it I love quite a bit. So in the number 1 spot, to me, This House Is Not For Sale from Bon Jovi. So let me know in the comments below your favorite albums from 2016. All in all, I don't think 16 was as strong of a year as 76, 86, 96, or even 06. I think around this time, for me personally, I find that a lot of the later 2010s and the first couple years of the 2020s were fairly weak years for music. Though there were some good albums in each year, I don't necessarily feel like each year was all that particularly deep. I don't know if I want to say 2016 was the start of that trend or if it was like the last year before that trend started, but it was kind of there. So yeah, that's just kind of my feeling on the matter. So let me know in the comments below your favorite albums from the year. If you like this kind of content, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel for more videos like this in the future, and I'll catch you next time.